Alright, so here we are back in the brew kitchen. We're going to be making a simple brown ale. This is part of my series from box to bottle. This will be the second batch, but I was just kind of wanting to throw this out here and show you guys, because I know I don't have the space, I don't have the room. Right here is everything I'm going to need to cook my beer today. So this is all fits into one. So really it's not that much room. It's what you make of it, I guess. I'm going to go ahead and set this back up here, and I'm going to take it all out piece by piece and kind of like I did last time. Alright, we're going to start with our pot. Going to need at least a 5-gallon pot, because you only need about 2 gallons of water to get started. And then of course your fermenting bucket with a thermometer, and as you can see mine has the stick-on thermometer. And then you're going to need a spoon. I have two different sizes. The shorter one I'm actually going to use to brew with. This one I'm going to use to aerate the wort after it's boiled and before I pitch the yeast. Alright, going to have a measuring cup, an airlock. This one is a 3-piece. This keeps anything from getting in the beer. You'll put this on top of here and it'll let the gases escape, and then there's a lid for that. Put that back in here. The hydrometer to measure your alcohol content. I've got a test tube I use to measure my alcohol content with. Then I have my thermometer. Then this is just what I gather my samples with. Pour into my test tube, and then when I test it to drink it. And then the sanitizer. This is the same one I used on the last batch. It's good for up to 3 to 4 weeks. So we'll go ahead and set this over here. Alright, now we got our brew kit. We'll put some of this stuff up. We got our brew kit here. It's just a simple brown ale. Want to check, make sure we have everything in here. Here's our recipe. Not sure what the stickers are for. I guess you could put it on some bottles if you choose. We got our hops. We got our yeast. We got our grains. And we have our priming sugar for when we'll be using that later at bottling. And then, of course, our liquid malt extract. We'll go ahead and get all this out. And now you're ready to start making some beer. Now we'll get our pot over here, and we're going to get 2.5 gallons of water and put in here. So just go over here to the sink, start running some water. Once we get our 2.5 gallons of water, we'll get it up to temperature and we'll put our grains in. But for right now, I'll be right back and I'll show you what else we got going on. Alright, we're back. We've got our 2.5 gallons of water in our pot going here. I'm going to go ahead and check our temperature, see where we're at. We're looking for 170 degrees. Kind of slosh it around here, give it some stir. Drop it down in here to see where we're at. And right now we're right at about 100 degrees. We'll go ahead and I got my back pot back here going with some water in it. I'm gonna go ahead and get my liquid malt extract here. Get the lid off of it, get it warming up. It's like molasses, so I'm gonna peel this little top off. We'll go ahead and set it in the water. And then we're going to be using honey. It's going to add to the flavor, and it's also going to boost up our alcohol content. We'll go ahead and get it warming up so it'll be easier to pour. Alright, and once this gets up to temperature, we'll be back and we'll start steeping our grains. Alright, we've reached 170 degrees in our pot, so we're going to go ahead and get our grains ready to go in the pot. When I ordered these, I ordered them crushed already. If not, you can put them in a Ziploc bag and roll a beer bottle across them just to crush them up, just to break up all the holes. Here's the bag they give us when you order your kit. I don't really like using it. Some of the stuff falls through the little holes, and then it ends up in the beer. So I have my own. So I'll go ahead and get this out and get it ready. Put it in like this, just so the dust or whatever don't fall through and make a mess. Unless I got to clean up at the end of the day. And if you drop it enough, it'll bust itself, right? And like I said, this is just the specialty grains that comes in the kit. Don't want to tie it real tight. So we got plenty of room here. Then just drop it in. And we'll just let that sit there for 20 minutes and then we'll be right back. Alright, we're back. We got our grains here steeping. Got about another minute left, and we'll go ahead and pop the lid off. Wait for the timer to go off. Got me a set of tongs to dig this out with, and then I'll squeeze out all the extra water that's been in the grain bag. Got about 50 seconds left. Once we get done with that, I'll show you all what we're looking at. And then we'll crank up the heat and put in our liquid malt extract and our honey and begin to boil. And after that point, anything that touches the wort needs to be sanitized. Go ahead and pull this up. Squeeze everything out real good. See, we're still getting quite a bit out. So I like to squeeze it till I'm really not getting anything else. And see, with that other grain bag where it's got all the holes, all this would fall right down in your wort. Not saying it's a bad thing, just don't want granulars in my beer. We'll go ahead and get rid of this. Put our spoon in here now. Just set this aside. Bring you up here, let you see what we got here. We crank the heat up. So now we're going to go ahead and drop in our liquid malt extract, pull it off the heat. Don't want nothing to scorch to the bottom. Seen how thick that was earlier. By putting it in that water, kind of softened it up, loosened it up. Go ahead and turn the timer off. Now get some of the water we had it setting in. Just pour it in here. Pull our funnel back out. Put our lid back on. Just trying to get out as much of this as possible. And yes, it's pretty hot. Now we'll get our honey going in here. It just run right in like water. This is going to add to the flavor profile and raise up the alcohol content. Now we'll give this a good stir. Make sure we got it all dissolved. Don't want none along the bottom. At this point, it's considered wort. I believe we got a good enough stir. I don't feel anything along the bottom. Go ahead and open up our hops. I'll get a couple of these out here. They're just little pellets. And we just pour the whole bag right in. Give it a little stir. And we'll put this back on the heat. And I'm going to keep y'all with me here for a minute. Right now is when you really don't want to walk away. It will boil over, and when that begins, I'm going to show you what it actually looks like and how fast it happens. We got our heat cranked up, just stirring it. And once we get up to a boil is when it'll all take place. take too awful long. But at this point, you really want to be watching your pot. It can turn ugly fast. And once we get up to a boil, I'll be back and I'll show you what all I'm talking about. As you can see, it's starting to slowly boil, and that's actually looking like a foamy getting on the top, just like the head when you pour it. And the more this grows, or the hotter it gets, this is going to continue to grow, and this is what we call hot break. And this is what can turn a good brew day into a bad day. Once it starts, it's a fast process. Just getting there is a slow process. Starting to see some bubbles now. This is when you really don't want to walk away. And you can really smell the hops at this point that we've put in there. You can see it foaming up. I'm going to go ahead and get ready for when this takes off. I'm going to be able to pull it off the burner. It's going to get a little noisy. I'm going to turn the fan on, kind of draw some of that away so you can actually watch this pop up. Oh, this one's not going to be that bad. We'll go ahead and let this boil for 60 minutes and we'll be back.